he good. Oh. Damn. Oh, grandfather ain't playing. Hello and welcome back to Actually Let's Talk About It with me, your host Lily, and today I will be reacting to Bloodhounds episode 6. Yes, y'all, we only got 3 episodes, including this one, until the cutoff, I believe, of part 1. I'm hoping this is not like the series finale. The series finale is only 8 episodes, but we just don't know yet. They haven't said if there's going to be a part 2, but I'm hoping like the glory that there will be a part 2, because I really like this story and I really like this cast. But anyway, on episode 5, we kind of are getting into the grit of it because Myeong-Gil ain't stopping no time soon. And like Tail said, he ain't really going to stop until somebody dead. That's just where it's at. So now we have Gonu and Ujin basically at that crossroads, and Tails told Gonu if something ever does happen to him that he's going to have to become the leader. So we're just going to see what exactly is going to happen, because the last episode, for episode 5, it left off with a bit of a cliffhanger, because we don't know what Myeong-Gil's going to do now. Now that his back is against the wall, he could really turn on anybody at any given point for no reason, like a cornered rabid dog, pretty much. That's what the way I think he's going to start acting. It's even worse. He's going to be on his worst behavior, and there's no telling what he's going to do. But we're going to get into it and see what he's going to do here in episode 6. But before we get into it, we are going to do our patron shout outs to our wonderful patrons on Patreon. So the first patron shout out does go out to Keisha L. I want to thank you so much for being a patron. It is so very much appreciated. And the second patron shout out does go out to MK Han. And once again, I do want to thank you for being a patron. It is so very much appreciated. The third patron shout out goes out to Dia, or Dea, spelled D-E-A. And I want to thank you so much for being a patron. Your support is so very much appreciated. And the fourth and final patron shout out does go out to Renaya Shannon. I want to thank you so much for your support and for being a patron on my Patreon. Again, your support is so very much appreciated. And now that we have shouted out our wonderful patrons on Patreon, if you are watching this video on YouTube, do not forget to subscribe, because this channel is on the road to 1,000 subscribers. But now the goalpost is currently at 400, and every day we are getting a whole heck of a lot closer to that goal. And also do not forget to give this video a good thumbs up, because it helps with the algorithm and helps the video get out to more people. And also leave a comment if you would like to leave a comment. But without further ado, y'all, we are going to get straight into the reaction for episode 6 of Bloodhounds and see what it's gonna do here. He thought he could play power play with somebody, and he met his match. You only got yourself to blame. You shouldn't have went into bed with him. You knew who he was before you got into this. Don't play naive now.
어차피 임장도랑 김준민 빠져서 김명길도 현타 왔을걸요?
But that means he's just gonna act out. Don't let your guard down. And don't listen to homegirl. Because, you know, like, she's not the smartest in the bunch. She just thinks she is. However, we cannot forget that the whole reason why they're in this predicament right now is because of her actions. We cannot forget that. So unlike anything that she has to say is void at this point until they get themselves out of this situation, especially in terms of her predicting a man she's never met and a man she constantly is underestimating, and that's dang near almost getting the best out of them if it wasn't for her grandfather bailing them out. So I wouldn't listen to her because she don't know what she's talking about. But that's all I'm gonna say.
언제? 가장자리 나오는데 딸이래. 영호랑 만난 지 3년 넘었어. 야, 넌 친구가 딸렸으면 해야 돼.
아휴, 시도 때도 없이 찾아와서 넌 사람 멱살을 잡고 때리고. 아우, 정말.
어떻게 생겼어요?
한 놈은 덩치가 곤만하고, 다른 놈은 키가 환치하게 컸어요.
Oh, it's Myeong-Gil and that dude.
달 후에 내가 돈을 빌려준 사람이 또 우리 자살을 했어. 찾아갔대. 그놈이 내가 시켰다고 하면서 그 사람들한테 대출 연장 수수료를 매달 몇 백씩 뜯어갔대. 저희 어머니도 똑같은 거에 당했습니다.
Wow.
그 말을 계약서.
So this man was lying on grandfather's name like that. Myeong-Gil was lying on his name and trying to intimidate people to get cash out of them when he was giving them interest-free loans so that they could take care of their sick family members and driving them to commit suicide because they couldn't pay what he was asking for. Oh, I want this man to just die horribly, because how can you live with yourself? What his actions are causing children to be without their parents. And it's not even because Teo is a bad man. He's not a bad man. He was a loan shark that understood that people have family members who are sick and offered them interest-free loans that they didn't have to pay back immediately. And then somebody that's working under him, aka Myeong-Gil, and his little, whatever that man is to him, I don't really understand it. He's like, you're like a brother to me. Either way, it's weird. Because they evil together, and I'm like, okay, that's a very weird relationship. He gonna turn on you eventually if he ever needed to, but okay, be loyal to him, ridiculously so. That's another story. But the fact that they both were going around intimidating the same people that he gave loans to and causing them to die and unalive themselves, I'm like, I wish the very worst for both of them, and I hope that they get it. That's all I'm gonna say. That's all I'm gonna say, because that's just crazy. I do not like to see it. Okay, that y'all peep that subtle advertisement had the little tag watch. Come on now. It's giving luxury watches a little bit. They're considered luxury, you know. I'm not a watch person, but I do know that that is one of the higher profile watch brands. I saw that subtle but important little advertisement that they put. That ad placement was very smooth. Creators of Bloodhounds, I saw y'all with that. Very smooth, very effective. Oh no.
누군가에서 막 죽이고 그러지 마라. 물어볼 거 있으니까.
It shouldn't be that easy for them to find him like this. This just don't seem right. Like, he would make a mistake like that to leave a copy of his driver's license with his actual physical address on it. Even my driver's license don't got my actual address where I live on it. So it just wouldn't seem like a man who has... It just doesn't seem like a man who has his kind of background would make a mistake like that. This just seems like one of them K-drama errors. Because a man who knows that he's messing with the type of man he's messing with, aka Myeong-Gil, he wouldn't leave that kind of evidence laying around at that building. Even if he owns it, he wouldn't leave sensitive information like that where anybody looking through his files could find it. That just wouldn't make sense. He's been in the game way too long to make a rookie mistake like that. The storyline ain't making sense right here. This is the first mistake I'm seeing in it. Girl, don't be asking why. Just do what your man say. In this circumstance. Because I'm like, I found it suspicious that he dressed all in black with a mask. If he was really somebody who's saying, oh, water is leaking downstairs, we just got to check it, he wouldn't be dressed all in black early in the morning about a water leakage. You would be in regular clothes, plain clothes, or an employee uniform. That was her sign number one. I wouldn't even unlatch nothing. Nah. It's a scam. It's a trick. Even in the United States, we know when it's a trick as well, because some people will pose as maintenance workers for home communities that are gated or apartment complexes that are gated, and they don't work for them. So you always got to be careful when somebody says, oh, it's maintenance. If you didn't call for maintenance, call 911 or 119 in Korea. Because no, I'm not unlatching my door. I'm not unlocking anything because I didn't call for you. And there's nothing that I know of that's leaking in this house. So how is that something having to do with my apartment when there's no leaks in my apartment, but you're saying it's leaking downstairs? That's a downstairs unit issue. But I'm not opening my door for you. I'm like, you got to think critically, because people are trying to scam and burglarize people sometimes. And this is the case where they definitely trying to get in. so they could try to terrorize him. Oh shit. Oh. And this is him hung over. This is him hung over. And he's still taking quite a few down and cutting some vital organs in the process. They ain't gonna be able to walk or move their arms the same way again. And that's on period. He taking as many down as he can because he knows that they will most likely capture him. That's why he barricaded his wife in the room. And that's why he told her to call the cops. So it'll be a record, a police record of all these men that have come in the house. So they won't be able to try to come again because it's going to be another thing on their record. Oh no. What? Okay, so I'm not understanding why his senses aren't tingling here. Okay, because like we got a joke in the black community, specifically, we got a joke where we like our black senses are tingling, like we can always tell when something is off. And it's just another plot hole that these writers have here, and I'm not sure why there's so many plot holes in episode 6, but like this circumstance with somebody as skilled as him, he would have known something was up when the security was disabled and he didn't disable it. He would have then known something was up when his right-hand man at that restaurant, he called for him and he didn't answer. And then we saw that he was bloodied on the floor in another part of the restaurant. Like you would have smelled the smell of blood. Because when you're in that type of life, you know what it sounds like, what it smells like, even when it's faint. So I'm like, these writers, I don't know what was going on, because I did hear that there was a bit of a scandal in regards to the actress who plays the granddaughter. Like she had a DUI and she like drove her car in Seoul or Gangnam. It was one of the cities. One of them cities, I forget which one. And it hit like an electrical power pole and it like took out the whole grid in that part of town for like hours. And they had to try to get the power back on, and it affected a lot of small businesses in that process as well. And she kind of has been ostracized and blacklisted ever since in Korea. So I'm not sure if that affected how the writers wrote it, because there's just way too many plot holes in this episode. And I'm like, that could have been a part of it. But they still, like, you know, you take your break and you reevaluate what you got to do when that happens with a cast member. But these plot holes aren't making sense for these characters. These are OGs, aka original gangsters. They know this life better than anybody else. So the fact that they're not as prepared when somebody is coming after them, even though they are older, you still don't forget your old ways. So it's just not making enough sense for me to believe that these men will realistically be defeated by Myeong-Gil's people who are younger than them and haven't been in the game longer than them when they're this skilled. It's just not believable to me. It's not at all realistic in my eyes. This is just like a K-drama plot hole, a K-drama script, but in real life, they wouldn't have been in these situations and circumstances the way that they're trying to write it here. That's all I'm gonna say. It's just not very realistic at all. Oh, he had to cheat with him. Oh, wow. Yep, it's fortified. So he came with all that armor on to fight him. You know, it's just giving weak male energy. Myeong-Gil's entire character. Because I'm like, you can't even fight your fellow colleague, your past colleague, your ex-colleague, one-on-one in a fair fight. Because you got all this padding on your body. You can't prepare with little knives in your boots. And you want to call it a win when you wouldn't have won if he had the same advantages as you. He just a walking loser. But he gonna get his. Oh, he gonna get his. He gonna get something. He gonna get something. Oh, yeah. But I feel like he got men in back of him. in the fish too. This is just too much. Oh, he did. Oh. Damn. Oh, grandfather ain't playing. I thought he couldn't pull the trigger, but nah. He was going pow, 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 pow. Okay, so grandfather can get it. He can get it started when he needs to. Okay, because he was struggling a little bit in the past episode to pull the trigger, but maybe that's when he was thinking of Myeong-Gil. But he like, I don't know these people. Bam, 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 bam. You out here trying to harm the people that I care about, because he care about Ujin and Ganu and his granddaughter. He don't know these men. He like pow, pow, pow. You breaking and entering. It's time for you to go meet your maker. Okay, inhale. He ain't playing. Okay, and I heard about this man. He's an MMA fighter. You could tell kind of by the ears. They got cauliflower ears when they're fighters, like MMA fighters or boxers. Are you kind of trying to stab him? What the hell? And 3 times? Is that necessary? Why the hell would he do that? Why the hell would you do that? He's an idiot. A complete and utter idiot. Yeah, he gotta get her too.
살려야 되는데 저 하나만 더 채워주시면 진짜 그대로요.
안 돼요.
Yeah, and they medically can't.
제발 운영
The hell? But y'all, this whole episode was just L after L for all the good guys. And I'm like, why are they letting the bad guys win? Like what? Why is Myeong-Gil seemingly looking like he winning something? I do not like that. And they need to not do that. I don't know what was going on in the writer's room for this episode, but this is my least favorite episode. Okay, my least favorite episode. I don't know what they was on, but the logic was not logicking this episode. The fact that both of the OGs, his right and left-hand man, and himself got in this episode, I'm not buying that for not a minute. For not a minute. Because number one, the first OG wouldn't have sold out the other to save his wife. Because realistically, the cops would have been showed up. So he wouldn't have given the information because Myeong-Gil would have killed her either way. Because he knows how unethical this man is. So it wouldn't have been realistic for him to give away any information. Then the second OG, he would have realized sooner that something was up. As soon as he saw that the alarm was disabled. And then thirdly, grandfather, aka Teo, I'm like, it just wouldn't have been realistic that they would have got the jump on him with all the security cameras that he has. It's just not realistic. And I just don't like how they wrote it there. You know, I'm sure that Ujin and Ganu, they're going to be okay going into episode 7 because they're still the main characters and they can't really die. It has happened in K-dramas, but I don't think it's going to happen here. They're most likely going to be appearing in all 8 episodes. So even though it's looking like Ujin ain't going to make it, odds are we're going to see him in episode 7 and 8. So I'm not really worried there. But I just don't like the way that they wrote off the OGs like that. Like, Myeong-Gil ain't that intelligent. He's not that smart. And he definitely wouldn't be able to get the jump on all three of them. That just wasn't making any sense. Yeah, but that's just my reaction to episode 6 of Bloodhounds. Like, this episode wasn't really making sense. However, I guess they needed, you know, the climax, I guess, of the story. So now we going into how they're gonna get their revenge, because now I guess the younger people needed motivation, more motivation to get Myeong-Gil this time. Maybe they're trying to use it as a plot device to where they have more of a zeal to end him in his organization when they already had it. They're just adding extra fuel to the burning fire. They already did not like this man, but okay. I just don't like the writing here. I don't like the writing in this episode. Like, episodes 1 through 5, cool. But this one, it just was all over the place for me. And I did not really like this episode. You know, the acting was spectacular. The fight scenes amazing, but the writing of the characters and it not staying true to the actual essence of the characters, specifically in the terms of the older men in this episode, especially the older men who are familiar with Myeong-Gil and his tactics, it just was not believable that they would have been caught up the way that they were caught up. Yes, because could he have taken them out? Yes, but in a better way and under way different circumstances. Like, the only one that was kind of realistic was kind of the man that owned the fish restaurant, but even that wasn't realistic in that he didn't even realize all the red flags when he walked into the restaurant. You know, like, it's just plot holes. You know, I don't like that. I don't like that. But yeah, other than that, like, it was a great episode, but this is like my least favorite episode of Bloodhounds, because I'm just like, they wrote him out too easily, and I'm like, they wouldn't have been that easily defeated. That's what I'm like not really happy about. I'm like, it would have taken a lot more from him, because he's not that strategic and he's not that smart. That's why it took him all that it took him to get the jump on the grandfather character in the first place, and it still didn't kill him. And then I'm like, just for you to write it that it was that easy for him to kill him now, I'm just like, I don't really buy it. Okay? Because it was also kind of really ableist as well, a little bit. Like, basically saying that disabled people can't really protect themselves from people that want to do them harm. Because that's kind of what it was giving as well. So that's very, it's like teetering that line of ableism. And I really don't like that. I'm like, you could have wrote him out better. But having an old boy being able to do, I'm like, I didn't like it. Like, I didn't like it. I didn't like it. I'm not gonna lie. It was just way too unrealistic in my opinion, and not it at all. But that's just my opinion on it. But you know, we'll see what's gonna happen in Bloodhounds episode 7. Now that all the OGs they have conveniently killed off, so now all we have is Gonu and Ujin, and we might not even have the woman that plays the granddaughter anymore, because like I mentioned earlier, she did have an incident while they were filming the Bloodhound series, and she was taken off the show. So I'm not even sure if they're going to write her out properly, or if she's just never going to be mentioned again. But going into episode 7, that is something to realize. If they do switch the script a little bit, that'll be one of the main reasons why. But yeah, y'all, that is my reaction to Bloodhounds episode 6. I didn't really like the episode, but you know, we're going to see what episode 7 brings in, because now I want Myeong-Gil to burn. Like, I don't want his death to be slow. I want it to be torturous and painful. On behalf of the people that he got in this episode, because what the hell, writers letting him have all these W's, all these wins. Nah, his L better be climatic and dramatic as hell. Okay, I want to see his downfall last at least 10 minutes, okay? That's all I'm going to say, to make up for the BS that was what he got away with in this episode. That's all I'm going to say. But yeah, y'all, that's my reaction to Bloodhounds episode 6. I feel very strongly about how they did some of my faves here, and I don't like it. But yeah, I'm gonna keep it classy though. I'm gonna keep it there. But yes, Myeong-Gil gotta go. And he gotta go terribly. Like, he gotta feel the pain he inflicted on others, especially in this episode. Oh yeah, he gonna pay for this. He gonna pay for this, and that's all I'm gonna say. But yeah, if you are still watching this video, I want to thank you so much for watching. And if you're watching this video on YouTube, do not forget to subscribe to the channel, because as I mentioned earlier, we are on the road to 1,000 subscribers, and every day we get a whole heck of a lot closer. And also, Do not forget to give this video a good thumbs up because that helps with the algorithm. It helps the video get out to more people. And if you are watching this video on Patreon, I want to thank you so much for being a patron. Your support is so very much appreciated. And I will see y'all in the next reaction. Bye.